Why, hello there, everyone. Earlier today, the Gundam Evolution channels uploaded a video titled Mission Briefing Season 2, which I assume to be a video showcasing what's to come in Season 2, which is going to happen at the end of November / at the start of December. I'm actually still currently working through maxing out the Season Pass, or at least as much as I can with the free version of the Season Pass. And I knew that I had until the end of November, and I kept seeing them post all this Season 2 stuff, and it was making me freak out, making me think that I didn't have as much time left as I thought. But no, I checked, and it does, in fact, switch over at the end of this month. So you still have a couple of weeks. Well, maybe a little less than a couple of weeks, but you still have several days. Plenty of time for me, at least. Obviously, the big thing that people are looking forward to would be the new mobile suits, obviously, right? Myself included. And yet, they actually kind of spoiled what's in here. Well, I already know what's in here because they literally put it in the description of the video, right on the top row of the video's description. But I won't say it because I don't want to spoil it for you guys if you haven't seen it yet. You know what? Actually, I'm going to have to put it in the thumbnail anyway, so I might as well just say it. It's the new Gundam. And I haven't seen anything about it yet. I have not seen any screenshots or footage of it or anything like that. I only saw that new Gundam was spelled out in the description. And I am looking forward to how that is depicted in the game. But I think the elephant in the room is that they said... Maybe I need to go back and listen to exactly what they say. Look at their exact choice of words again. But I was under the impression that they said they were going to be adding 2 suits per season. Maybe they said 1 to 2, right? I'll have to go back and check. You guys can let me know in the comments. But I see a whole bunch of other people complaining about that as well, saying that they were expecting 2 because Gundam Evolution said that they would add 2 per season, but lo and behold, they only announced 1 here. So there's a chance that maybe they're just showing 1 of the 2. They're showing 1 of the 2 early to get people excited, and then once Season 2 starts, they will show the second one. But I think that's unlikely, because if this were just the new Gundam trailer, then I would think that theory has a bit more credibility, more likelihood of being real. Because if it were just exclusively a new Gundam trailer, I would think, okay, that is just a teaser of what's to come in Season 2. But the way this is phrased makes it seem as if they're trying to show you everything in Season 2. So, let's just see. Play. Let me turn that down just a little bit. I'd rather it be too quiet than too loud. I am still enjoying the game quite a bit, even though they need to rework some things for real. Also, I was... sorry to pause it again, but I was playing this game on the last stream because, like I said, I'm trying to finish up the Season Pass. And I don't know about you guys, but it takes forever to find a ranked match in this game now. So we had to end up switching to the Japanese servers just to find a match. So I'm hoping that with Season 2, it will inevitably increase the player base. Inevitably, it will increase the player base, right? With any kind of game update, the player base always increases. But I'm hoping that with the player base increase, with the inevitable player base increase from Season 2 that'll happen in a few days, I'm hoping that it will sort of stay higher than what it is now, because like I said, it took so long to find a match, and that's very de-incentivizing when it comes to keeping up with a game that you want to stay competitive at. This is 12 minutes, so there might be a lot of stuff in here. Do they open with the new Gundam? Ooh, colony map! Yes! I have been asking for this. And I'm sure many other people as well, right? Because a colony map is a no-brainer. You would expect a colony map to be in the game at launch, but better late than never, and I think it looks pretty cool. You have to have it, right? Any kind of Gundam game, you have to have a colony map. I'm going to go back to that opening shot. I really like that it's pretty much just a city, right? Because you're in a colony, but you still have a sense of scale here because you have the buildings, and then you have the side of the colony. I don't even know what you would call it, right? just one end of the tube, and you can see the other, like the opposite floor, the opposite end of the colony above you. And so it just makes the whole thing feel so much more atmospheric and have a much better sense of scale than the other maps in the game. The other maps in the game are okay. I do like the harbor map. I have been complimenting the harbor map because the harbor map had some scale references in there as well. So with the harbor map, you actually got to feel the scale of the mobile suits to an extent. But obviously in this case, that's even more true. And like I said, I think the whole background elements of this gives it a whole other feel compared to the other maps so far. So I'm actually excited for the map. I'm assuming they're just going to add this one since that's the only one they're showing, but still, whoops. Still, that's pretty good, but I do hope they add more maps. Sazabi, yep, that's going to be the new Gundam. I bet if I watched this not knowing it was the new Gundam, I wonder if I would have gotten that right. Seeing the Sazabi, I wonder if that would have spoiled it for me. And there are the funnels. Let me see if I can guess what the moveset's going to be before I watch the gameplay. So obviously, you have to have the whole moveset centered around the funnel wing, right? But you already have Sazabi, but Sazabi's funnels are tied to his ult, so it's probably going to be actually part of his moveset. I'm thinking maybe you could sort of do a Zenyatta type thing where you can send the funnels out to protect an ally or send them out to attack an enemy, right? Kind of like Zenyatta, but in Zenyatta's case, it is a debuff when you put it on enemies, but I think in this case, it would just straight up attack them. But one of the whole gimmicks with the funnels on the new Gundam is that it should be able to create a beam shield, so I'm wondering if that's going to show up. Other than that, I don't really know what it would do. This is definitely a safe pick because the new Gundam is the most popular Gundam in Japan, in Gundam's homeland. So I guess it is fitting in a way, considering that, knowing that it is the first mobile suit to be added post-launch. I just wish something else was getting added with him. Okay, we have the rifle. Seems standard. Okay, and we don't have any HUD elements here for some reason. But he did send out the funnels, obviously. Let me see if I can play this frame by frame. The bitrate on the video is not that great. In fact, we actually have straight up screen tearing here. Do you see that? You see that? Screen tearing right there? Well, at least we know it's actual gameplay. Considering how many funnels get sent out, I doubt that a single funnel is tied to a single ability press. I'm thinking you probably activate the ability once and then they all get sent out. Obviously, some follow after the other ones, but I doubt he's sitting there mashing an ability to send all of them out. And then they go to him, and then it looks as if once they get within a certain range, they do some kind of auto attack, which I would assume has some kind of tracking. That's actually pretty similar to how the... That's pretty similar to how some of the moves work in Gundam Versus. Strange enough. Okay, let's play it again. And they did immediately come back, so maybe it's not necessarily cooldown based. Maybe you just have to wait for them to come back, or you can manually call them back. So you can only really do one ability at a time. Maybe that's the trade-off. Kind of like how Zenyatta can only have his debuff on an enemy or have it healing an ally. At least that's how I remember it working. It's probably different now with all the changes that game has gone through, but you get my point. Barb. That was just a regular backdash, right? I love how much more open this map feels compared to the other ones, because so many maps in the game, I know I've said this already, but so many maps in the game have ceilings to them, right? And the ones that are outside don't really have anything in the sky. I liked how the harbor map had sort of a stormy sky, not necessarily stormy, but it looked as if it were about to rain, right? I liked that the harbor had some kind of variety in the sky, but that was only due to it just being full of gray clouds. This is obviously much more interesting. I don't know what's going on here. Oh, that must be the bazooka, right? Holy screen tearing. I don't know what's going on here. Is that some kind of clipping? And they still have a few days to fix it, so I'm not going to critique that yet. But this seems pretty obvious. Whatever this is seems kind of obvious. That seems to sort of be... Oh, I see what's going on here. It seems to be an evasive ability, but I think you are firing the bazooka at the ground. Unless he's just using a bazooka and dashing at the same time. You know, actually, now that I think of that, that's more likely the case. It would be easier to know if they had the HUD turned on. So I think he must just be firing the bazooka and backdashing at the same time. Forgot about the bazooka. Oh, hold on. No, we get a third-person view here. I think it's actually a backflip. So I don't think he's actually holding the bazooka and firing it while holding it. I think it's staying on the back, and he's doing the backflip and firing the bazooka while backflipping. He has that ability in Gundam Versus as well, so I guess they want to keep that as one of his key moves. So that's pretty cool. It's kind of weird, though, because obviously from a first-person perspective, if you were doing a backflip, the camera would look like it's going crazy for a moment, right? In Gundam Versus, it doesn't matter because it's a third-person game. And so you can have the character, you can have the playable character model, you know, in this case, a mobile suit, do all these flips and stuff, and you don't have to worry because you can keep the third-person camera angle the same. But in this case, it's kind of weird because they must have considered having the camera flip, right? And that would obviously be a bit more realistic, but you would sort of have a lack of control. You wouldn't have a lack of control, but you wouldn't be able to see. You'd essentially be blinding yourself for a second when you're doing the ability, right? And you wouldn't have a lack of control, but you would just have a lack of awareness over what's going on for that moment. So I guess they wanted to break the realism for the sake of just being able to see what's going on while you're doing the ability. And normally I would be fine with that philosophy, but I think it's kind of weird to have a backflip and not have the camera move or anything in a first-person perspective. I kind of wish the camera would pull out and go third-person during the flip, similar to what happens when you enter mobile armor mode with the Asimar, for example. Because I don't think it's really selling the fantasy of doing a crazy backflip and firing the bazooka from whence you came, right? I'm not necessarily saying to do this for realism. I'm saying to do this for the power fantasy of being in a robot that's doing backflips, right? Because when you look at it from the third-person view, that is 100% the backflip. And the bazooka is firing... See, the bazooka's firing as it angles itself that way, where my cursor is, you know, in front of where you were when you were standing there. So from a first-person perspective, it doesn't really seem as if you are doing this, right? I didn't even know it was doing the backflip until I saw it in third person. So kind of wish they would do something about that to make it a bit more obvious what's happening from a first-person perspective. But obviously, gameplay-wise, it's fine. And it's probably better not having the camera perspective change or anything. I just think it would be more fun if it switched to third person there. Okay, activated some kind of buff. This might be the ult. So like I was already mentioning earlier, with these funnels, you can create a beam shield of sorts. And I'm wondering if this is actually going to just make him impervious to everything, or if it's just going to be some kind of defense buff. But this looks pretty cool. I did not think they would make it this big. I thought they were going to kind of shrink it down, so that way it wouldn't be too obtuse, too obtrusive on everything else. But I kind of like the scale of it. Let's see here. Okay, that was third person, so that must have been an ult activation, right? Similar to Pale Rider. When I don't really play Pale Rider much, but I'm pretty sure when Pale Rider activates his ult, his install ult, it goes third person for a moment. Also, I swear this video isn't going to be as long as you think it's going to be, just based on me only getting to 1 minute, 14 seconds so far. Once we're through the new Gundam stuff, I'm probably not going to pause it as much. So, we don't have the HUD here, so we don't really know if he's getting hurt because we don't have an HP bar to look at. But based on how brazenly he's just walking up in the line of fire here, I think we are supposed to interpret that as him being literally invincible. It looks as if the screen flashes red for a moment there, though, doesn't it? There. So maybe you can still get hit. Right there, see? That could just be the pink from the beam shield. Maybe the shield flashes if it gets hit by something hard enough, see? You know, now that I'm actually looking at it, that is pink. So I don't think that's him actually getting hurt. Okay. Nice. Nice homage there. Man, this looks pretty cool. It almost makes me wish the game were in third person. Oh, they went all out on this cinematic between New and Sazabi. Okay, let's see what they say here now. So wait, so hold on. How many abilities was that? You get the funnels, you get the bazooka flip, and then the ult. So, is that it, or would there be one other ability?
We've had so many players play in Season 1, and a strong community has been developed for this game. Mariyama-san, do you have any comments regarding this?
Well, I'm honestly really happy, and I'd like to say thank you.
I'm going to make this 2 times speed since I already spent enough time on this.
These messages have really lifted up our team members. However, since this was our first multi-language service launch, we had difficulties with making announcements, as well as having enough announcements, so this is something we would really like to improve on.
Yeah, so speaking of that, I don't know if this video was live streamed. I would have loved to have watched it live streamed, so that way it being the new Gundam wouldn't have been spoiled. But I didn't even know about this until after it was posted. And I check the Gundam Evo Twitter all the time, so I know if I missed it, a ton of other people missed it too. Assuming it was live streamed or something like that, right? And if it wasn't live streamed, then it should have been, right? Because that would have been exciting. So I definitely think the community manager could be doing a better job here, if they even have a community manager. So I'm glad they're aware of that.
I really enjoyed the boost system, and I found myself playing a lot. What kind of feedback did you receive from other players?
Right. From overseas players, we've been told the action that the boost system provides is extremely fun. The lack of roles in this game allows them to play really any unit they want.
Right, I agree with that. I like the boost system. I like how the roles aren't rigidly defined.
Really happy to hear this. Also, not just overseas, but here in Japan, we've received messages from people who started watching the anime or purchased Gunpla because they played this game. This also makes me really happy. Beginning in Season 2, this game will be coming out on home console systems. From what we learned from our network test, we have optimized the game, so I hope players who haven't had access to this game up and running.
Man, YouTube's 2 times speed never works on HD for me, so I'll just go back to normal.
Now we'll be able to play.
Keeps on freezing.
Can you tell us about Season 2, Mobius?
Yes. The new unit for Season 2 will be New Gundam. New Gundam is the mobile suit that Amuro, the main protagonist of Mobile Suit Gundam Char's counterattack, uses. It's a really popular one. It features special equipment called the fin funnel.
You know what? I actually wasn't paying attention to the scale. I wonder if they shrank New Gundam down. Because they shrank the Sazabi down for sure. So I guess they must have shrunk the New Gundam down as well.
Wow, the new mobile suit is the new Gundam, huh? This is really exciting.
That's right.
I see what he did there.
Let's now have Hogaki, the battle director, go more into depth about this unit.
Hey everyone, I'm Linda, and I'm so excited to be here with the battle director of Gundam Evolution, Hogaki-san. Thank you so much for being here.
This video is probably getting copyright claimed,
Can you show us?
but who cares?
The new unit we will be introducing
Is Pale Rider.
it's Its main weapon is a mid-range.
Okay, now they're going into it.
The act
Okay, so funnel's an ability, bazooka's an ability. Yep, and then the ult is the beam shield.
active skill 1 is the fin funnel. The active skill 2.
Wait, hold on. How many funnels got sent out there? That was way less than what was initially shown.
The active skill 2
Yeah, I don't think that looks good when he's using Hyper Bazooka. I think that's probably my only complaint about this.
is the fin funnel.
Can it stack multiple charges?
The active skill
Okay, get rid of the subtitle so I can see this.
1 is the fin
No, he pressed it once and then it went on a 7-second cooldown. So
funnel.
how did they get multiple funnels shot out at the same time before? Because that only sent out 2, right?
Skill 1 is the fin funnel.
I don't know.
The active skill 2 is the new Hyper Bazooka. The G maneuver is the fin funnel barrier. I will be
So does that barrier automatically send out one of the funnels? Like the Sazabi ult?
is the fin funnel.
He didn't use his E ability for that, did he?
The G maneuver
No.
is the fin funnel barrier.
So to an extent, it's like the Sazabi ult, but less funnels attacking people with the trade-off of having a shield that makes you seemingly invincible.
I will be explaining each of the skills in more detail.
Yes, go ahead and do that.
I love the select animations. How did you go about creating the animations for this particular unit?
When people think
Oh, you really memorized that script. Nailed it.
So I asked the motion team to make sure the fin funnel looks cool. I will now be showing off the skills in training mode. First, we have active skill 1, the fin funnel. When you have a target, you can activate it to send 2 fin funnels to shoot the target 4 times each. However, if you can hit the target with any other attack twice, it will show a marker on the screen. And in this state, activating the fin funnel will send out 4 fin funnels.
Oh,
4 shots each.
that's cool. I like that. Now you're getting some extra utility out of a single ability instead of just press a button and call it good. I actually think that's good design. That makes it a lot more interesting, right? I bet it'll be a lot more fun to use because of that. That kind of seems like a League of Legends ability, now that I think about it.
If you hit the target 4 times before activation,
It's almost as if you're getting stacks on the opponent and then you're proccing the stacks.
out 6 fin funnels that will shoot 4 shots each. You can have a total of 2 marks, so always try to remember to hit the enemy 4 times before activation. Next, we have the new
Yeah, that is like a League of Legends ability. That automatically makes me want to play it way more now.
Bazooka. When activating the new Hyper Bazooka, pressing a direction will allow new Gundam to move in that direction while shooting.
Yeah, I don't think this looks good. That's my only complaint about that.
Try using this to space out close-ranged units or adjusting the range between you and your enemies.
I think it would be much more fun if it went third person. Like I said, if it just went third person for a moment as you did the flip, so that way you could see yourself doing a flip.
The first-person view and third-person view are different, so I'd like to share that with you right now as well.
Yeah, see, look, they're even aware of it. They're like, yeah, you can't see how cool this is from a first-person perspective, so we're going to show you it from a teammate's perspective or an enemy's perspective. See, that looks cool when you're fighting him. Yeah, so this really tells me that their whole design philosophy here was to make it as easy to use and as user-friendly as possible while using it. They didn't want to obstruct the vision or the camera at all, which I can kind of respect.
Lastly, I'd like to explain the fin funnel barrier. When activated, the fin funnels will create a barrier in all directions, blocking ranged attacks. However, if the enemy makes it inside the barrier...
Okay, so it literally is a shield like a normal shield. I would hope and expect that this shield isn't particularly susceptible to beam weaponry like the other shields in the game are, considering this is literally like a beam shield. So it should be able to handle that. And what I think they're about to say is that if they get inside of it, then they can hit you. And that would explain why they made it so big, so that way an enemy had enough space, an enemy would have enough space to get inside of. So that makes a lot of sense. So this is probably the closest thing so far to a Reinhardt shield or an Orisa shield, something like a shield from Overwatch, right? A big transparent shield that your teammates can actually hide behind, but enemies can walk through.
New Gundam will take damage. You want to make sure your enemies are outside the barrier.
Yeah, that looks really cool.
Along with the new unit, there is a new map, isn't there?
Isn't there?
The new map that will be added is the Colony Trading Post. The inspiration for this map is a city-type colony.
This is by far the best looking map so far. Ooh, some pop in there. I wonder if they're playing this on the console version.
The battle in the city area.
Maybe they're playing this on the console version to commemorate it being a thing now.
Targets are A, located up here, and B.
I'm glad it's destruction and not domination.
Shutter gimmick. What that
Shutter gimmick.
is after a certain amount of time, the shutters that are open or closed will alternate.
Oh. That's cool. This is automatically the best map in the game. I hope we get more maps like this later, right? I hope they push that even further, the whole dynamic map changes.
To experience battle with an ever-changing line of sight.
Yeah, that's a really cool philosophy. I hope they start doing that with more subsequent maps, but take it further instead of just a little wall.
Top sight does not have the shutter gimmick. But since it is an open area, for teams that consist of a lot of mid to long-ranged units, I recommend planting on this site. The second area takes the battle to inside the colony, an underground area. There is another new gimmick in this area, the conveyor belt.
We...
You can use these moving containers to close the enemy line of sight. Or if you so please, you can use it to close in on your enemies.
Imagine if you could hide in those crates. So it's basically mobile cover. That's
I will
cool.
explain the second destruction targets. The first of the destruction is the transporter, or the runway pillar located below. The lower sight implements the shutter gimmick I described earlier. It alternates between the front and back shutter, as well as the side shutters.
I am unironically more excited for the map than for New Gundam.
This gimmick can save you from being attacked during detonation, or let you plant because of the line of sight change. These are the kind of situations we wanted to create.
So, can you tell us about the new features being added in Season 2?
Don't really care about the items unless they have announcements about reworking the monetization and how you unlock things. That's really the big thing that needs to be fixed with this game.
Gundam Char's counterattack. My personal favorites are Sazabi's new MVP.
That's cool.
Gundam's new select animation. There are many items that the fans of the original movie.
Oh, wow.
But I think
The Psycho frame. Oh, wow, that's funny.
Although I really love the new Gundam plain skin.
Is that supposed to be a high new color? I think it is.
Also, we will be featuring the unit unlock for new Gundam,
Oh, wait, no, that's the high new color.
a rare skin set, and the Amuro portrait in the unit pack Mobius.
Wow, that's already tons of new features. Is there anything else?
Oh yes. As an MP purchase item, there will be the Gundam Barbatos second form skin.
I would love to buy all this stuff if it were more reasonable, but I'm probably not going to buy any of this. I'll probably buy New Gundam, and that's it.
Additionally, the game will feature a brand new function called titles, and the custom matches will have some quality improvements. We're also working on the ranked match system.
What is this new titles function?
Yes, similar to player icons and portraits, it is a feature that can be seen by other players.
Wow, that one looks really good.
However, instead of finding them in season passes or supply pods, you will receive them depending on your past battle records.
Let me hear that again.
Similar to player icons and portraits, it is a feature that can be seen by other players. However, instead of finding them in season passes or supply pods, you will receive them depending on your...
They're talking about these things, right? Like the little titles you can add in fighting games, and you unlock them by winning a certain amount of matches with a specific character, etc. Things like that.
Also, the PC version will have a spectator mode implemented before the home console versions of the game.
I'm surprised that was not in already.
I hear there's some region-specific news. Can we take a look?
Gundam Expo USA 2022. Top streamers Dyrus and Sure4 will be live on stage at Anime NYC as part of the Gundam Expo. They'll be playing Gundam Evolution exhibition matches with support from the live audience. The Gundam Evolution Showdown returns to the US to celebrate the release of Season 2. Sign up now to compete in the open bracket for a chance to take home a share of the $20,000 prize pool. Visit GundamEvolution.com for more information.
I need to see if that's going to be PC and console as two separate things, or if they're all lumped in together, or if it's only one or the other. But I'm probably going to sign up for that, just because.
All the features in the game are amazing. I can't wait to see what's in Season 3. And
Is that Space Dandy's voice actor
to those watching,
translating this?
so much for being here today.
It sounds a lot like that. I know he voices a ton of other things. Maybe someone in the comments can point it out.
Excited to share future updates with you. The feedback you've been giving us has been greatly appreciated, and we hope you continue to support our game.
Okay, so in summary, they have not addressed the monetization issues at all, which is a bit unfortunate. There's still a chance that they'll fix it, though. But on the plus side, New Gundam is looking pretty decent, albeit a safe pick. But more excitingly, not only are we getting a colony map, but the colony map has some fun gimmicks to it that I hope is representative of what's to come with subsequent maps down the line. So either way, I will definitely be continuing to play this game. I will be playing this game again on the next stream. I have to make sure I max out that season pass before season 2, because I want to at least get that season 1 avatar, because obviously that will be a flex later. And let me know what you guys think in the comments. And with all that said, I will see you guys later. So bye for now.